Okay, so welcome to another episode of Six Strings and Other Stories. Today's guest is not what you would call a guitar player, but he does have a few guitars, so that gets him on the show. But
Yeah, it's criminal that I do have a few guitars. The
and some
truth, and
nice,
I have some really nice
yeah,
guitars too.
exactly.
Yeah,
Anyway, so today's guest needs no introduction. Please welcome Mr. Vishal Dadlani to the show. Hey, Vishal, how's it going?
I'm good, man. It's an easy Sunday morning.
Awesome.
You're lucky you can't see my chaddis. They are aquamarine blue.
It's all good. Okay, so I want to get started right away. You remember your first gig?
Yeah, I remember it like it was yesterday.
So
It
tell
was the
us about it.
14th of June, 1993.
Okay.
Okay, so no, I have to tell you the shit that led to that gig.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
where the
yeah.
good stuff is.
Sure. Let's lead up to it.
So I mean, in a sense, so basically, what happened was this. You know about my college life, right? And getting into fights and like
Yeah.
scrapes and shit. So some shit happened when I was 18, and I had to get out of Bombay, like run, right? So I left. A couple of friends came with me to make sure I was safe, and we went to Goa, and we hid in some really dodgy hotel, right? And one of those guys had a guitar,
Okay.
right? And I'd never heard him play before. I had no idea that he could play or whatever. And then we checked into the hotel, and in the room right next door to us were these two smoking hot women, like proper smoking hot. So okay, what now? How do we make this approach or whatever? And so the friend with the guitar goes, "I got this," and he steps out onto the little balcony and he plays some 2-3 songs, the Goa standards, so to speak. Um, and 15 or 20 minutes later, these lovely ladies are sitting with us and hanging out and so on and so forth. And I was like, I should probably take a look at this art form. You know what I'm saying? So, so I came back to Bombay, all that shit blew over, and I got, I guess you could say a lesson, maybe 2 lessons. I don't remember. There was a chap called Charlie something. I don't remember now.
Okay.
But he taught me A minor, C, and then F, which was a huge achievement for me because it involved
Yeah.
the
The
barring thing was a big deal,
dreaded F chord.
and the pain and and it took a couple of days of work to sort of. And anyway, so I had essentially a repertoire of 8 million songs with 4 chords, as I still do, and and um, and then the Bombay riots happened.
Okay.
Now you're talking 92, 93, late 92, early 93, right? And everything was shut. And there was this one store called Pac-Man on Pedder Road, like a snack shop. And that dude was scared shitless of all of us. So we'd go hang there, and he'd open the shutter for us. We'd go in, and there was this other dude who played a little guitar, and then he'd bring a guitar, and then I'd play whatever little I knew or whatever I'd managed to work out or whatever. So that happened, and all that again that blew over. And so 3 or 4 months after that, I got a call saying, "Hey, you want to be in a band as a guitar player?" So I was like, "But I can't play, man." And he said, "Yeah, it's cool. Neither can I, but we'll figure it out. We'll learn." So I was like, "Okay." I mean, it's a unique approach. Let's go and see what happens. So I went to this place on Pedder Road where there were 4 or 5 guys in a room. I didn't know 4 of them in a room, and I didn't know any of them at the time. So it was like, okay, so what kind of music you get? They were talking about some music or whatever, and there was one dude who kept saying the Aerosmiths, which was really getting on my fucking case. Right at that point. But anyway, so the drummer in that band was Shiraz.
Okay.
Shiraz was putting all this together.
Okay. He was the
Right?
guy you called
Shiraz
you?
is the drummer of Pentagram. He was a drummer in this band, and and the guy playing keys in that band was Shekhar.
Oh.
So I met Shekhar and Shiraz on the same day, and and then we practiced for I think now in a month for like a 20-minute gig, 25-minute gig. On the 14th of June, 1993, we played at this place called Knopfler at Navy Nagar.
Okay.
And it was some sort of naval thing that Shiraz, basically there was a fashion show, and Shiraz just, wanted to like be in that moment, if you know what I'm saying. So we were all part of that noble exercise.
What you all
And
called?
and then and then one of the days, but then getting on stage just like it changed my life. It changed my life. Nothing else mattered from that moment. The first time I stepped onto that stage, it just everything changed. Like
And
everything else just fell away. Like the fashion show fell away, the Goa nonsense fell away, the everything. It just all became a whole other thing. I was just like, oh man, this is. So I went home that day and I told my dad, uh, I want to do this. Like this is going to be my life. And he said, "Are you any good?" I said, "I don't know. I hope so. I think so. I don't know." He said, "But yeah, okay, check it out." He probably thought it's a phase or something. It'll
yeah.
be gone in a year or two. He said, "Sure, give it a go." I gave it a go. Next thing you know, boom, Pentagram is doing things.
But what is the band name at that first gig?
So this is because it's a new band. It's really truly special that this was the name of the band. It was a band playing its first show, and the name of the band. Are you ready for this? It never gets old, man. The name of the band was Nostalgia.
Already.
There is somewhere
Yeah.
a videotape of that show.
I think
Papal has it and he refuses to let anyone else have it because it is, I think it's his ticket, man, for the later years. You know what I'm saying? It's
blackmail.
that show was so good. It was so good. I've watched that thing once. It is epic. Beyond, you remember that Rajiv, whatever his name was, tape, that went around the whole thing. This is equivalent, except
Okay.
I'm in it. Yeah.
You were playing guitar or you were singing? What was
No,
it?
no. So yeah, at some point I was playing guitar, like some acoustic vibes were happening, and basically anyone was doing anything, whatever you could pull off, you were doing. At some point, Shekhar was waving drumsticks at the audience and the band because there was no keys in that song.
And I believe you all had a gig at Sophia College or something as well. Some girls' college.
No, that was Pentagram.
Oh, okay.
That was Pentagram. All that. So this was the first and last time that Nostalgia ever played.
Okay.
And then became, the dream came true. The name fulfilled itself.
So how soon was Pentagram after that then?
Immediately,
Okay.
because one of the rehearsal trips, like Shiraz used to fetch me on his scooter, and we'd ride to Navy Nagar. So on one of those rides, he said, "Hey man, listen, you can sing. I can actually play. Maybe we should start a real band." I was like, "Oh, this isn't the real band? Okay, cool. Yeah, let's start a real band." So then we found Clyde through Floyd. Shiraz knew Floyd.
Okay.
Found Clyde. And then it took a year or two before we found Randolph and Papal. So basically 94, 95 is when we were all together.
Yeah. And you were playing bass, I believe, on the first gig.
I mean, first 2-3 gigs I played bass.
Okay.
But it was, I was literally memorizing bass lines.
Right.
So,
But then once
which is more than many bassists do.
Right.
Which is more, and I'm not going to name any names here, but I always remembered my parts.
Yeah, I know. I know, trust me.
I get the feeling you may have felt that feeling a few times.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, so that happened. And then next thing you know, we went Pentagram. Then Raspberry Rhinoceros was happening at that point in time. So our first gig was legendary again. It wasn't at Raspberry Rhinoceros. Pentagram's first gig was at SL World on New Year's night.
I remember that. Amusement park, right?
That's correct. We were opening for Chakraview.
Okay.
So Chakraview and us were in SL World. And you know how it is. Like they're new bands. In fact, that gig is why we are called Pentagram.
Right.
Because we didn't have a name. And there was this dude who was organizing it who said, either you give me a name by the end of the day or I'm going to just leave it blank on the poster. I'm not going to put anything on the poster. So like, dude, we got to find a name. So we're going through a metal magazine. There was a t-shirt design that said Pentagram. We're like, take it, chalo. This is good. This is a good enough name. It'll do. So we did that gig and it was surreal. Again, Floyd was there. At some point in time during the show, not our show, we played. So this is my first time on stage with a fog machine. Okay. The fog machine was pointing right at me. I did not know this. There's a box. I didn't know what it was, right? So we started the show. We started intro to the song. I'm supposed to come in saying the fog machine goes ballistic in my face. So now that fog, it hasn't had time to disperse. It's just gone right into my mouth. I'm about to sing. I can't breathe. I can't see. And I don't know where the mic is. So I was on stage waving my arms around like that, trying to find the mic. Yeah, so eventually found it, did a couple of songs. Then Chakravyuh came on. There was no one there. There was an audience essentially. It's New Year's night. So there were people there who essentially wanted Bollywood music. However, they were kind enough to let both the bands do the show. Second show, Chakravyuh, at some point in time, shit broke down. I think the guys it was Dhruv, Anand and T2 at the time. Those guys just took off. Basically, they just got off the stage and Floyd went and sat on an amp and played for like 2 hours. So yeah, that was our first gig. But we had our name on the poster, so that was important. And then Raspberry Rhinoceros was the next 2 or 3 gigs, which was where it really sort of came together.
Right. So that's when you kind of decided, Acha, now it's kind of sounding like a band, and we can actually.
No. I mean, I'm sure we weren't sounding like a band at the time either, but because I was playing bass. I mean,
right.
Yeah.
The first time I saw you, I think was around 96 or something at Rang Bhavan, and by that time it was like already sounding like well.
Yeah, because we put a lot of time in after. So when we found Randolph around 94, 95. Randolph, Popal, Clyde, Shiraz, and I, we worked our asses off for that first year, man. So the idea was, I mean, I don't know what we were working so hard for, and it never really felt like work, to be fair. We were just in a room playing songs you like, So yeah, by the end of it, that's when we started to sound like a band.
And you all used to practice a lot at your place in Pedder Road. So how did your parents react to that?
My mom always wondered if everything was okay because I was screaming a lot. Because we'd be doing like metal songs at the time. So then when they'd leave, she'd be like, "Why were you shouting so loudly? Like, are you?" So I had to play the original song because some of them were cover versions. I had to play the original song. So that's what we were doing, like Guns N' Roses and things at the time. So yeah.
Because when we used to practice, like, 3 of us in the band. So we were like practicing one house till after 2 months, the parents got fed up and said, please leave. Then we'd go to the
other house.
next house. So then we'd come back to where we started. And once my brothers...
I mean, funnily, my parents, they just let it go on. And we did this for a long time. And my neighbors, because we were loud. I realize now that must have been a pain in the ass. I realize now because I'm the neighbor who calls the cops. You know what I'm saying?
My brother was once recording a metal band, and my dad, he was teaching a young kid guitar, and then the kid asked my dad, what's that sound like, that growling and stuff, what's that sound? My dad told the kid that they're practicing for the Lion King. Poor parents, you man, the shit.
That's what the Lion King soundtrack should have been like. That would have been epic. Just speaking lion from end to end.
So
Sahil would have conducted it in a suit.
Which was the first time you played Rang Bhavan? I'm curious. When was that?
I don't know what the first time was, to be fair. So what happened with us is we played a lot of gigs, and there was always this hope that we'll get to play independence rock someday. So between 94 and 95, we were trying to get, through the college competition circuit. Like we played IIT Bombay and we qualified and then got disqualified. So we were like, it's all politics and this shit is rigged and that. Anyhow, so all that nonsense was going on. We wanted to go to IIT, Kanpur and Delhi and so on. And we never got around to it until 95. So when we did that, when we eventually went, we'd worked really hard. And we went and won all of them.
Yeah.
At the end of 95, we won IIT Delhi and Kanpur, and then we came to Bombay and won that, and so on and so forth. And we still hadn't played Rang Bhavan when all this was happening. And some dude came up to us at Bhavan's. By now, we were playing pro gigs. Like we were being asked to play concerts at colleges. So we were playing at Bhavan's college in Andheri, and some dude came to the stage after the gig. We were wrapping up, and he put his card up like that, and I thought he's some nut job corporate dude who likes rock and roll or whatever. So I took his card. And he said, "You guys, you want a record deal or what?" Yeah, sure, man. I'll call you like tomorrow. So I did call him tomorrow. We went and met this. It was Plus Music, and they said, "Yeah, okay. So do your first album." So we're like, okay. MTV had just come in also, and they were like, they thought rock and roll might actually have a future in India and so on and so forth. So they were very excited to back that up. And then somewhere along the way of all of this happening, Farhad Wadia called one day, "Hey, Dadlani, come and play iRock." This was 96. I think that was the first time we played Independence Rock. We'd already signed our record deal.
That was when I saw you. And so that was probably your first Independence Rock. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was also, I think, another gig where it was Spirals, y'all, and some other band called Hobos from the Northeast. Do you remember that gig?
I remember Hobos.
Yeah.
Because Hobos stood for something. Hobos stood for... Man, it was some... I know S was Satan, for sure. It was... So Hobo... I mean, Hobo is meant to be like a dude living rough.
Yeah,
right?
like
I
a
don't
drifter,
think he's meant to have any sort of aggressive inclination towards the dark arts or whatever the fuck. We always found the best people, man. It's amazing. I think it was, oh God, I wish I remember the name. Something offset. Anyway, whatever. It was some nonsense like that.
Do you remember another band called Maids, like Metal, Aliens, and Devil's Souls? Do you remember that?
No, but they sound beautiful.
I think I forgot. It was at one of the IITs.
In Devil's Souls.
Something like that. Oh man,
I love it.
The days.
I love it. The shit we've seen, dude. No one will believe it. You realize it? If you put this in a Spinal Tap film, they'll be like, man, thoda zyada ho raha hai. Back it off a little bit. Metal, Aliens, in Devil's Souls.
Speaking of films, I believe your first rail trip to Kanpur for the IIT was like a Wes Anderson movie, according to Randolph. You remember anything about that?
Man, everything was surreal. Now that you put it, oh my God, it's like a flood of memories. So there was this other band with us, right? And they had all the accoutrements of a big band, you know what I'm saying? And we were just like a young band setting out. Like, this was our first college competition, virtually, Kanpur. And we didn't know ass from elbows. There's all these dudes with like bandanas and girlfriends and like, you know, and you know, there's that Kalina rock walk. I don't know if you ever saw it.
Yep.
It kind of goes like this, and your hair kind of goes like that behind you. You know, it's like it's rhythmic. Let's put it that way. Anyway, so they had all that shit, and some of them had boots, and we were just like, whoa, man, fucking hell. It should have clicked that they're all still getting on the train with us to go to Kanpur. But anyway, so the point is, we were like, oh fuck, serious guys, whatever. And then we had, so they were on the train with us. They were a band called Psychic History.
Psychic History, okay.
If you want to decipher it and never come up with what it means, let me know. I think they just strung the words together.
You can see the future and the past.
I reckon. I think that's a little beyond what, because they couldn't see the future for sure. Anyway, so we, Kanpur was remarkable. I remember one of them being very sick on the train, and just like a whole bunch of stories of nonsense happening on the train. Then we eventually got there, and we all got in one of those, you know, those motorcycles converted into rickshaws.
Yeah, I remember those. It's a Delhi
So
thing.
we got in one of them together, all of us, and I think we had conversation there, and this guy started, the drummer said something remarkable. Is when we realized, we were like, oh, okay then. He said, I can't remember whether he said, I do a lot of something to the, it was complete nonsense involving the word hats and sticks. So I do a lot of hat stick work, or some, like a sentence that makes no sense whatsoever. And we were just like, huh? Okay, whatever, man. And they were just, and that whole, in fact, all of that Kanpur story, because that's where we met Orange Street for the first time, which Orange Street had Saibal playing guitar, Samrat playing drums, Ban on vocals, and Neil on bass, like all-star lineup, so to speak. We just met them for the first time, and they were awesome. So we're like, okay, there's this, there's like a real thing happening here. And then some of the other bands we met, so unique and beautiful. I really miss that, I miss going to college gigs and meeting bands who have no clue whatsoever. That's my favorite bit. Not just to laugh at them, but although that's great, but also because that's who I am permanently, really, in life on a daily basis. Like, it's, how it is.
Yeah.
So I kind of get it. I see where they're coming from. You know what I'm saying? And it's hilarious and beautiful at the same time, because any of those guys can be anything they want. It always blows my mind,
I remember the first time I actually met you, I was standing with Sid watching a band at Rangva.
Oh, I know. No, we met for the first time in Seawoods, no?
You probably...
In Vashi.
No,
you guys were in a band called Vicious Circle.
Vicious Circle, yeah. We had only played one gig.
And you came up to me and gave me a demo.
Oh, really?
I remember that. Yeah. So it was an epic show again, where the Pentagram, the poster was in Marathi. Why Pentagram was playing in Seawoods, I don't know. And the poster said, Mumbaicha Lokpriya Band Rock, Pentagram, in Seawoods. It was Seawoods, but they written Seawoods Colony, whatever. So anyway, we were getting some money to be there. So we were like, okay, cool, we'll be there. And it wasn't bad. It was a lot of fun. And you guys were there. I remember it clear as day, man. You played, in fact, you didn't even give me a demo. You guys played me your music on a cassette, Walkman or something like that.
Ridiculous. And then the one I remember was at Ramgaon standing with Sid, and there was a band playing, and I turned to Sid, I said, I don't think this guy's got a very good guitar tone. And then I hear this booming voice. Who knows anything about guitar tone? I turned around and it's you. Sid's like, that's the singer of Pentagram. I was like, yeah, I know. Like, I'm scared.
Yeah, that changed quickly.
Yeah. Well, at least we knew something about we just knew it.
At least now we know who knows about guitar tone too, for whatever it's worth.
Wow. Do you remember the first time you judged a rock competition?
Oddly, I haven't judged very many of them.
Okay.
I never did the college judgy thing. I did
You were smart.
I did IIT. Yeah, because it's damn boring. I realized, from being a contestant, that this being there is never... Also because I'd seen Floyd judge things, right?
Right.
And Floyd makes it very, very apparent how completely ridiculous it is to be sitting there. Because he's like, what do you want? I'll have a fried rice, please. Like the judges on the...
Oh, wow.
But anyway, so yeah. I mean, basically, I judged the IIT Delhi elims once because I was there. And they were like, will you judge it? And I'm like, yeah, okay. And then sometimes Pentagram used to make it a point to judge not gigs, not like rock band contests, but we always wanted to judge the human interest stories, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The talent parade, where they'd have to show some skills or tell some stories or jokes, because that shit is just fodder for life.
No, the reason I ask is because, I wonder if you noticed any differences or parallels between judging rock competitions and the TV ones, the TV singing competitions.
Look, essentially, so it's exactly the same in a sense. It's just the language is different. Mm-hmm. And I mean, some of them are great and some of them are complete poop.
Yeah.
And so on TV, when you're judging a rock competition, as a judge, you can actually stand up and say, hey, what the fuck are you doing? You know what I'm saying? But you can't really do that on television for the simple reason that it's rude.
Yeah.
So you do it gently. And also because, I mean, over the years, one has sort of realized that being, if someone knows less than you,
mm-hmm.
being a dick to that person is more a reflection on you than on them.
Yeah.
Like if you can help, or shut the fuck up and get out of the way.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
it's the death kiss of maturity and cameras on you that keeps it polite on television.
Yeah. Sometimes you just have to self-edit and
No, not
Yeah.
really anymore. I'm just not that person anymore.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like I mean, I don't find humor in other people's
Misery.
fuckery
Yeah.
as much as I used to. Misery, no, the misery belongs solely to the judges. That we have to be very clear about that. Putting yourself in that place and someone sucks, you're just like, oh fuck. But I mean, obviously, when you're young, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the rock competitions, like sometimes like there's just a range of talent. You see like
Oh
some
man.
really, and I guess also because it's an ensemble, the guys have to actually play together. All sorts of things can happen with that.
I mean, and also, yeah, you get. So you get. I remember seeing this band called. I think it was called Phoenix or something.
Yeah, I remember them.
They're from the
Northeast.
Northeast.
Yeah.
No, so there was a good Phoenix,
Okay.
and then there was this Phoenix.
Okay.
So there was a good Phoenix. I had seen the good Phoenix. So these guys came in with the name Phoenix. Whatever, and they came in with like thigh-high boots and long hair and those, those bracelets with the fucking spikes and shit like that. So okay, cool, whatever. And they were so epic. I mean the guitar player mid solo jumped off the stage because he was in the throes of it, but he was cabled, so there was just a huge bulk and yeah.
Did you notice a difference in audiences between different cities, like say Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore, Chennai? I mean, I guess you've played a few of those, even the Northeast.
Yeah, dude, it's the thing is if I wasn't doing the Bollywood gigs as well, I might have been able to answer that question with any degree. But between the feeling if you're doing 100 a year between Pentagram and the film gigs, you don't remember anything. Never mind the crowds. You don't remember where you are half the time. There are times when we've been on stage and not known what city we're in.
Yeah.
So, like, where are we again? It's like that, literally. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, saying during the 90s, for example, like there were,
Oh,
specific
for sure.
kind
So the
of.
Bombay crowd was equal parts more enthusiastic, more educated, and more deranged
Yeah. They could get
than
violent
anywhere else.
in Bombay, I remember that. Like,
I mean,
if they didn't like you, like they would tell you that they didn't like you.
yeah, and in no uncertain terms, you were given a clear understanding of what they thought of you.
Yeah.
And in Delhi was different because they were always a little bit in awe of Bombay bands, I think.
I noticed that as
So
well.
the Delhi rock,
Because
yeah,
we had heard like, man, Delhi, they'll kill you all. They want like some brutal heavy shit.
really,
And we went over there and we were like, they loved us. And I was like, maybe
yeah, yeah.
because you were from another city or something like that.
Delhi was also strangely, it gets a really bad rap, but it was also strangely the warmest place I've been to in terms of people. Like they'd meet you once, and if you didn't
Yeah.
have a place to stay, you just go,
Yeah.
"Tu mere ghar aa ja,
Yeah,
tu
man.
come and stay with me." Yeah, there was like that, and they weren't kidding because there were times we took up those offers. Samrat, there was a guy called Maggie. I stayed at Samrat's house for a month. Like I haven't stayed anywhere for a month. You know what I'm saying, like that.
Yeah.
It's
You stayed at
so, yeah.
Amit Saigal's house at any point?
Once for one night, I wasn't very comfortable, dude. For the simple reason that acoustic guitar kept coming out.
Yeah. For me, it's
I'm
a good
just like,
thing.
man, I love Amit, but beyond the point, I can't listen to like whatever Bob Dylan cover he's doing in that moment. I just couldn't. I was like, I can't. I'll tell you when even. It was 2003, we were on our way to Estonia and we were going via Delhi because there was some mad visa shit. We had a new manager at the time called Vijay Nair who had set this thing up. 19-year-old kid with this fucking, this real drive to do things. And we were going through Delhi and we went to Turquoise Cottage that night to watch a gig, got into a massive fight. That's when Vijay and I really became friends because I got into a fight with some idiot who wasn't, I had just come out of the place and I was going back in and he stopped me and said, you can't go back in. So I was just like, man, this little argument happened. Before I could get into it, Vijay, who was the manager and meant to calm things down, had leaped onto the guy and sort of trashed him. I was like, okay, go. So we're friends now. Okay, all right. Yeah. Yeah, but it was good times, man. Amit's house was always full of people, dude.
Yeah. That was
Full
like
of people.
the
And everyone's like,
networking pad. You met everyone.
I don't
over
know if anyone was networking. It was more just people smoking shit, randomly singing songs, and just everyone was just like being cool, not even trying to, just being easy, chilling. it was a vibe. It was a thing.
Right.
It's never been my vibe. A large group of people just turning into rugs slowly over the course of the night, and someone constantly playing guitar through that whole exercise. It's never been my thing, but cool. It was a nice vibe. Like there was no angst there.
You mentioned the Estonia trips. I guess that was your first or second time out of the country, right?
Yeah. Second time abroad. First time we went to Seychelles.
All right.
Now, nobody told the people in the Seychelles that we're a rock band. Nobody told us that the Seychelles is a reggae place. You know what I'm saying? We could have prepped accordingly if someone had had the foresight to mention it. Nobody did. So we ended up playing like an all-out, I think, an hour and a half of rock and roll to people who had. But for whatever it's worth, it's so beautiful and the people were so awesome that it was a spectacular show. We had a blast. It was weird, and we were playing on UB40's gear. Did I not tell you that?
No, I didn't know about that.
Strangest gear circumstance in life. First of all, we didn't have the good sense to know who a good sound engineer, not even good sense, experience, I guess, to know a good sound engineer from a bad sound engineer. Someone told us Benny Matthews is the guy. So we were like, okay, Benny is the guy then. I think it was Indiscreet playing a prank on us at the time, possibly, who may have told us this. I don't remember for sure, but it seems something totally up Jayesh Gandhi's street. He would have said something like that. Hey, you guys should go with Benny, man. Benny is a sound vendor, poor chap. He didn't have the first clue. And we get there and we're in the middle of this giant field, which is on the edge of the ocean. Like it's literally like you cross the road and you're at the sea. And there's a massive green mountain right behind where the stage is beautiful. The venue is beautiful. There's the perfect wind blowing, everything. Like it's epic, beautiful. It's going to be a great night, right? One way or the other. And Benny goes up to this large desk, which is covered with Rexine. It's kept in front of the stage, puts his elbow on it like this and goes, "Mixer is not came." His elbow was on the, and we were like, "Oh, we're fucked. Oh, we are well fucked now." So anyway, so it turns out that gear was UB40 had played the previous night or a couple of nights back, and they just left their gear there. Since there was another band coming, they were like, "Okay, fine, whatever." I don't know how they worked it out or whatever. But so all the amps had UB40 on it, the mixer had everything had UB40 written all over it, and we played the gig. So for a brief moment in time, we contemplated singing Red Red Wine, but I didn't know the lyrics.
I remember we had Benny Matthews for one gig. He was from the rental company, and
Right.
he called me to the mixing console. He said, "Come here, you're the guitar player." I said, "Yeah." So he said, "Your singer knows to play guitar?" I said, "Yeah." "Just ask him to play some chords on your guitar." So told Rajiv, "Can you just go strum my guitar?" I thought he's going to show me what it sounds like. So I had this big 100-watt Marshall, which you probably know about. And
Sure.
he says, "Okay, now come here." And this is my guitar fader on the mixer. He's saying, "See, he's playing now. He's pushing my fader up, down. See, no difference. Your amp is so loud, it's louder than my PA."
He once asked me, we were playing, I think, National College in Bandra. And the gear hadn't come. Soundcheck was supposed to happen in the afternoon. Gear's not here. What do we do? We need to set up. It's I called Benny. By this time, I knew him well because we'd done the Seychelles together. I called Benny. Benny, the amps are not here, dude. What are we supposed to plug into? Where are the amps? He goes, "Oh, you want amps also?" Like, I mean,
Yeah, that would be nice.
you think? Yeah, it would help. But anyway, so yeah, he was a special guy. But great guy, though. Great heart. I mean, he's always nice to everybody. But he was the worst sound engineer. Poor guy. I feel bad saying it because he's not, but we said it when he was around as well. So fair is fair.
When did you go to Estonia? Remember the year?
2003.
Okay.
Remember it clear as day because, yeah, I had just turned 30 and it was a Sadma year for me. So this Estonia thing really pulled me out of that. Just like, okay, things can still happen. Like, we can still go. Because when I turned 30, I remember this hitting me it hit me like a brick wall. I was like, bro, if you're in a rock band, you're 30 years old. I remember being the kid in Rang Bhavan looking up on stage at 30-year-olds saying, man, what the fuck are they even doing up there?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And Yeah, so I knew that feeling, and but then this Estonia thing came along, and we were headlining the festival, and it was a cool. It wasn't a rock festival, but it was a it was across genres. There were 18 stages or something like that, which is huge. We had never seen anything like that before, you know. And there was a strip tent in the artists area, and the shit happening outside was so cool that there was no one going into the strip tent. There was just poles and ladies dancing, and nobody gave a fuck about that. Literally, it was that cool. Everything outside was so amazing. Yeah, so it was a trip.
And your set was well received?
Um, our set was received with actually was rather well received because we have video evidence of that. But there was also a great deal of surprise because it was an electro festival, like an
Right.
EDM. But by this time, again, 2003, we were
Yeah.
heading in that direction already.
Right.
We were doing a lot of there was a lot of electronica to our sound.
Yeah.
So that all of that kind of went down, and I wouldn't say. So we had some mad things. We had some people chasing after us on the street, people waiting outside our hotel window. But I think they would do that for anyone who's at the festival.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like purely on a musical basis, it's not like we turned into the Beatles or anything over there. But it was great. Yeah.
And then how long after that was your Glastonbury appearance?
2005,
Okay, so a couple of years later.
couple of years later.
And that would have been
That was
huge
again.
for you all.
That would
That would
that
have
was
been
trippy
huge
as
for you
hell
all, yeah.
again because there was a band who was finishing up that year, the big band. The night that we were playing, the was the finale, the third day, so to speak. And the band that was closing was this relatively new big band called Coldplay.
Oh,
And I was never really into Coldplay at the time, you know. So, and we were playing at 2 a.m. and Coldplay was getting off stage at 12 or so. Oh, no, they were getting on at 12 or something like that. And so I was just like, man, I need to rest my voice. And I went back to my tent and I slept through. I didn't go to the gig like the Coldplay. I was like, no, my singing. Gadha. But anyway, but yeah, we saw some amazing music. Man, I watched Tori Amos in a tent, 60, 70 other people, Vijay and I, and we just had like tears come out. Tori Amos was one of my favorite songwriters
yeah, I know, yeah.
at the time. Yeah. And it blew my mind being there. And just seeing that, you know, there's like everyone's real people. And the coolest thing I ever, like for me, what signifies, so we were staying in this area called Lost Vagueness. In Glastonbury, there was this area called Lost Vagueness, which was, we were playing the Brasian stage, the British Asian stage. But that area was really like, it's for me, that's what music festivals will always be. Like you'd wake up at 4 a.m, walk down this muddy sort of, what's the Kichad filled road, right? And someone stuck a piano in the middle of it. So the pedals are in the mud.
Oh.
And then some dudes just like in a top hat sitting there and playing at 4 a.m, just killing it. Just awesome music happening there even. Everything was mad. It may just also be the fact that it was the first time there and so on and so forth. And it just like, I wanted to inhale everything. Like everything was just beauty everywhere, man. It was epic. And I mean, I believe we were the first Indian band to do that.
As far as I
Go
know,
there and play there. Yeah, as far as I know as well. So that's pretty cool.
Breaking new ground, I guess.
Oh, and also, yeah, we got a little bit of a bonus from Coldplay. Because when we were on stage, when we were meant to get on stage, there were about 18, 20 people because Coldplay was on. Right. And then just as we were about to get on, Coldplay wrapped up. So we had 150,000 people walk past our stage, and a few thousand of them stuck around and watched. So we got, I mean, you know, it was like there was no way they would have done that otherwise, but they just showed up because of that. So it was great.
Yeah.
I remember when I met Chris Martin here in Bombay, I told him exactly. I was like, man, you guys did us a favor that night. I'm sorry I didn't come. He was like, oh, we missed you, man. Sure. Yeah.
Speaking of festivals, you remember the first N87 festival?
Oh, like it was yesterday. Because I had to sign 60 letters.
All right.
Because I was the host of that festival.
I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah. Every artist got a letter saying, welcome to N87. Thank you for being here. We love you and we have the greatest respect for you. And we do our very best.
I got one too. I remember
that. Every one of those. I wish somebody, I mean, I'm pretty sure nobody kept any of those, but I wish somebody had. I'd like to have that. I remember signing letters for all the artists. I was like, this is awesome. I I felt cool. I was
Yeah.
like, I didn't do anything. I had nothing to do with it apart from being part of OML in name.
Yeah.
Vijay did all the work, right?
And
But
I
I got to
believe
say, hey,
you all did two sets. On the first night, you all did some
oh,
reggae
that's right.
set or something
That's
like
right.
that, and then
No, we did a hip hop
hip
set
hop set.
at
Yes.
we did a hip hop
At Hard
set at
Rock.
the Hard Rock Cafe,
Yep.
which was just so we played a regular Pentagram set and then we did this hip hop set of just songs that we love. So we pulled some real clunky old songs out of a hat and we played them and pulled some of the new ones. We played I remember we played Cypress Hill, Insane in the Brain. We played a Fuji song. I think it was Ready or Not. Ready or Not, Here I Come. Yeah, that one. And then we played a Gorillaz track. I don't know, but it was a good set. I wish we'd done more of that. It was a lot of fun.
It was 2009 or 10, one of the two.
No clue. N87 first year, I have no
10,
idea.
10 or 11. Anyway,
No, also this fucking COVID year and a half has thrown,
yeah.
Like everything out of whack. I don't know when anything was anymore, or is, or going to be. I have no clue.
What are your top 3 covers with Pentagram that you all did?
Good ones or bad ones?
No, the good. I mean, the ones that made you happy.
Oh, okay. So we had I don't know if any other bands really had that experience in India. We had to retire a cover because we got so famous for it that people were coming to see us play that song. It was Alive by Pearl Jam. So I don't know whether that's good or bad. But we were like, we're never playing this again. Enough. So that was one. Then I remember the first time we busted out Killing in the Name at Rangbawan in 96. I think it was.
year.
The Navalkar year, yeah. People thought so Killing in the Name and that other song, Bulls on Parade, people thought those were our songs. They'd never heard of Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah.
A vast majority of people were like,
they had just come out. I think
songs.
that second album was just out at that time. You all played it.
Yeah. And it was amazing. But just watching that fire get lit, man, those songs were effective without the band even. Like if another band is playing the song, the communication was still intact. You know what I'm saying? Like you want that crowd to jump the fuck up and stand up for something.
Yeah.
Those songs did that.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
It still works. It's amazing.
Now the thing is, it still works, yes, but now it's the song that it's a song. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody feels the groove. And at that point in time, in that circumstance where we'd been told not to sing some lyrics, and then everybody with their fingers up going, "Fuck you! I won't do what you tell." That was the thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That was
what was I going to ask? When you did you end up getting into trouble for that? The Navalkar episode?
I think I hid for 3 days, and
like Jesus,
and then realized that they haven't really quite grasped any of it either way. So then I went back to normal. Nothing really happened.
At what time?
All I know is I remember the government getting a lot of bad press because of that, because it was a very stupid move, very stupid thing to do, and everyone. They ask people to I mean, this is fascism light. Submit your lyrics first before you sing them on stage. So people I remember ripping pages out of a Jet Set magazine. You know, they have song lyrics and stapling them. These are my lyrics. Here, take. This is what we're going to sing. What fucking idiot government does that? Like, this is what you have time to focus on. Culture ministry. We had a culture ministry. Can you imagine? Fucking idiots. Anyway.
At what time in the Pentagram journey did you start getting into writing for film? Because I remember coming to your house at one point and you were saying, I'm going to write some film music. I was like, oh, that's a bold move, but yeah, cool. You know,
when you say write some film music, it's quite different from making songs for Bollywood.
Songs for Bollywood. Yeah, that's what I meant. Songs for Bollywood.
That's quite different. So what happened then was we wanted to, I'm talking about 98, 99, right? We wanted to make that move towards electronica. Right? This is a discussion that Randolph, Clyde, and I were having constantly. And and we needed to buy gear for it. And as a band with no real source of income per se at that point, we needed the princely sum of 19,000 rupees to buy the Roland 606 groove box.
Right.
303, not even, what am I saying? They were Roland 303 groove box. 19,000 is what it cost at the time. And so I was like, I don't know. And Shiraz was working as an assistant director with this gentleman called Raj Kaushal, who just passed away actually. And Raj was looking at making a film with only new people, like from the actors to the musicians to everybody. It's like, I just want new people. So Shiraz said, man, play him this song you have and see if he likes it. So I said, sure. I took my guitar, went over to his house, played it to him. He loved it. He was like, can you do more? I was like, wow. Do you have more? I said, I'll make some more.
Yeah.
and then, yeah, so that was Wo Pehli Baar, the song. And then so all of that came out in 1999. And that's also when, so I'd met Shekhar, of course, at the same time as when I met Shiraz. And we stayed in touch and so on and so forth. And in 99, because Shekhar also knew Raj, we found ourselves working on the same film at the same time in Farhad Wadia's studio. So that's where we decided, like, hey man, we're working on the same thing. He heard my stuff, I heard his stuff. We should do this together, you know. And so we did. And that was then the beginning of and we did 4 years of just advertising max. Like there was a time we were doing 6-7 tracks a day.
Yeah.
And
you're at that studio in Bandra. I remember that.
No, the Whirly one. This is all during. So the moment Pyar Mein Kabhi Kabhi happened, that was the first film. After that, we did some other chindi mindi things, and we somehow managed to put Tino from Spirals, Costantino Francorsi, was so I partnered up with him, and he had this massive shed in Worli, and that became our first studio. And we started to do a lot of we did all of Jhankar Beats, all the writing there.
This was the Graveyard Studio.
Really good stuff. Yeah, the Graveyard Studio. Studio Kabristan, as credited in Jhankar Beats. I kid you not, that's actually what it says if you read the credits. But anyway, so so then we did that, and we didn't have Jhankar Beats was 2003. So until from 99 to 2003, that's what we were doing, just figuring our shit out and who we were and what we were. And then Jhankar Beats came out, and boom, everything just changed.
That was like the first big one for you.
What Pyar Mein Kabhi Kabhi was big. All the songs did really well,
but
nobody knew
who y'all were.
Nobody knew who we were. Nobody knew how to get in touch with us, and we didn't know how to get in touch with anybody either. So we just did advertising, and we didn't give a shit.
Right.
You know, and we never went like, you know how like people shop their music around, or we just I mean, someone was asking us to do something today, great, we'll do it. You know what I'm saying? It's like that.
Yeah.
So so that was that. And then once Jhankar Beats came out, then the films just became all-consuming in a sense.
Do you remember the first Vishal and Shekhar live gig? When was that?
2007.
Okay.
We had just done a TV show called Saregamapa, which, by the way, I'm just doing right now. Again, like I'm about to start. I just started shooting for it. Sorry, I told you I'm a blur, dude. I just shot 2 days for it, and I have completely put it out of my mind. Epic. Because yesterday was a studio day, and so that's all I remember right now.
Right.
Mental. Anyway, so we just done that show, and we've finally been recognized as the faces to our music. Finally, people were putting the music and the faces together. So someone asked us to do a show in Nigeria. Our first gig was in Nigeria. And I think we may have gone a little bit overboard on the enthusiasm, because those guys come back every year and they say, you must come and play. So we're like, yeah, okay, this is what we charge. But we gave you a break, and we're like, get the fuck out. It's just, every year it's the same conversation. But anyway, so we played like 4.5 hours, dude.
Wow.
4.5 hours. And you have to understand, this is when half our catalog was missing 14 years ago. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have half the songs we have now. Somehow we managed to pull off 4.5 hours. And again, no covers, only our songs.
Right.
Mental.
Crazy. And then I think you did a US tour with Mr. Bachchan as well. That was
2008, yeah.
Yeah, shortly after.
2008. So we'd made, in 2005, we'd done the Bluff Master track, and Abhishek had become a friend, and he was at some point planning to put out an album together with us, and we had written some songs for it. We were having a blast. Basically, we'd start like our meetings at 1:32 in the morning. And this is also when he was courting Aishwarya. So it was like our studio was the secret meeting place, so to speak. So a lot of fun. And your friend, Mr. Dutt, would be around as well a lot. And this was all happening at that point. It's a good, I mean, we were just having a blast. Ritesh, Rohan Sippy, all these guys would come and hang and we had this tiny little studio at, what's it called? Rebello Road
Yeah, Savia
near
building.
Mehboob.
Savia building.
Savia, that's
Yeah.
the one. The very one. Fucking
Yeah.
epic spot that.
Wasn't there some
So
the auntie opposite or something who used to complain about the
James
noise?
Brown, dude. We had James Brown living in that building. She'd wear like a gold bodysuit or whatever it is, and had like that big hair, and she was like this lovely, lovely dark brown shade with her big glasses. And she'd walk up and down the stairs, get really annoyed at anyone making any noise or happening. We didn't have a lobby or anything, so the staircase is where we'd hang out. Like that little, it was literally a 3x3 square lobby outside our studio. And we'd hang there. And this woman once, I kid you not, so Shah Rukh was over during. I think it was Om Shanti Om or just after we were doing some track for him for KBC or something. And he was sitting on the stairs and smoking a cigarette. And Mrs. Brown has come up and given him the old 1-2, like, yeah, what the hell are you doing here? Like that. Uh-huh. It was literally like that. We're listening to that and Shekhar and I sitting there like that, like, oh man, what is going on? And Shah Rukh's got his hair down on his face, with his glasses on. And they took it very quietly. And I said, I literally said, ma'am, I know no one's supposed to smoke here, but Shah Rukh Khan, no, make an exception for once. And to which she looked at him and said, you're Shah Rukh Khan or? And he put his hair up like yes, ma'am. Just very nice of him not to throw a fit. And she said, oh, sorry, smoke. And then went past him and went up. It was, I was just like, man, that building was so surreal.
Yeah. I remember y'all started working with Avijit Nalani, who's been part of the team for a very long time. So when was the first time y'all worked with him?
Jankar Beats.
Okay.
Jankar Beats. So I didn't know Abhi at all. Samrat knew him.
Okay.
Shekhar and I had written this tune called Sunona. I don't know if you of course you've heard it. What am I saying? You have. I don't know if anyone else watching this will have. But anyway, so we'd written this tune and we're like, who do we get to produce it or whatever? And Samrat was around, so we're like, okay, Samrat, you want to try this or whatever? So Samrat partnered up with Abhi to produce the music of Jankar Beats with us. And this Sunona was the first one they did. And literally, I kid you not, when we heard it for the first time, so when they brought it to us on a cassette, we used to have a cassette player, put it into the things, hit play, and that the opening bars happen and it was boom, 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 dum, dum, dum. We were like, oh, something real has happened here. And then we realized that Samrat, as a rhythm sort of producer is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
But this was not his place. Like there was piano, there was strings, there was all kinds of things going on, and we were just like, man, who's done all of this? At which point he said, Abhi. So that's when we met Abhi for the first time. And then he's just been a fixture ever since, until recently where he's just like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm moving to Goa. Fuck y'all. I'll come once in a month, do 2-3 songs and fuck off.
The dude's been working since he was a kid, so it's probably high time.
He's still a kid, dude.
Yeah.
He looks exactly the same, except his hair is grey. Acts exactly the same. All of us, come to think about it.
You grew up listening to a lot of old film music as well as rock and roll. So that both came from your parents. So how did you get into both?
It actually, so it's not even really, it's not like anyone sat me down and said, listen to this or listen. There was just a bunch of records. And it involved everything, like film music through Led Zeppelin and Santana and some disco music and whatever was around at the time. My dad has always been into music, but never in the sense of this is my space. So he listened to everything. So that'd be Boney M and Jagjit Singh on the same day. And, R.D. Burman and Led Zeppelin on the same day. And no one told me that there was one is better, or the other is not better, sonically these. No one gave me any of that. The stuff that we all bring to music that we listen to, if you know what you're listening to.
Yeah.
So sometimes knowledge can be quite an impediment. Like you may not hear a great melody because it's badly produced, or you may not hear great production because the melody is terrible.
Yeah.
Or you may miss a great guitar player if you don't listen to rock and roll music, and that person may be, doing things that could redefine your perspective on everything. you know.
Yeah.
So fortunately for me, I never had any of that shit. You know, in fact, I found that sort of classism in music much later, like in college and things. You know, where I would, where I realized, oh, okay, there's people who listen to music differently than I always have.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not just a general term; it's very specific for them. Like this is my. So when I first went to college in the 11th standard, I met this guy who was my friend in college. Like we'd hang out every day, and he had very specific rock and roll tastes, and he would not listen to Bollywood music. I had never met anyone like that before. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, well, that's okay. That's unique.
Because I've
Right,
noticed that
whatever.
about you, like, because whether you're singing like rock and roll or singing the film stuff, it's both are authentically you, and it sounds like you've been listening to that since you were, at a young age or
I
something.
have,
Yeah.
I have. I mean, I wasn't listening to anything with a view to learning it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I was listening to everything with a view to just enjoying it, which I think is what is the message that we miss when you become. I think it's the biggest loss that a professional musician ever really has, is that it becomes something you do rather than something that you just experience.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
I mean, like,
That
I was gonna
Go
say,
on.
like, when you're a kid, you listen to it without any prejudice. If you either
Yeah.
you like it or you don't. If you like it, you
Yeah.
really like it, and you'll keep on listening to it. But there's nothing like, oh, it's this, or it's that, or whatever. You just like it.
Exactly.
I mean, I used to like MC
That's
Hammer as
exactly
much
right.
as I liked the Beatles. When I was a little kid.
That's
Or
because you actually really like Rick James. The truth of it, you find that later,
yeah,
though.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Or even like that Kayamat Se Kayamat Tak. I love the
Yeah.
songs from that film. It's cool.
Yeah, it's good songs.
Yeah,
I mean, they
exactly.
stood the test of time. Nobody can deny a song that people have loved for 35 years.
Yeah,
Nobody can.
exactly. Which is
And
why,
if you do deny that,
yeah,
then that's your loss.
yeah,
You haven't given yourself the opportunity to sort of find that. So
exactly.
it's kind of sad.
Because the
Yeah.
moment like you have a bunch of people that dig a certain kind of music, it's for no one else to say that is real or that is fake or whatever. They
No,
like
it
it.
is real. It just because all those people dig it.
Yeah,
In fact, it's real just because someone made it.
yeah,
It's literally that's just how it is. And the thing is, like all the intellectualization of music and of taste and all, it's just, I mean, it's just people thinking too much about stuff that should just be
yeah.
felt. You know?
My opinion, my honest opinion is life is short. There's a ton of great music out there. Go find that, and the stuff that you don't like, let it
Yeah.
be. Someone else will like it.
Correct.
Leave it for them
Exactly that.
to get
That's
off on it.
exactly right.
You don't have to piss on
Music is the
someone
ultimate
else's.
democracy. You get to
Yeah,
pick what you like and enjoy it.
yeah,
That's all.
that's it.
Anything else is not your problem.
And as long as your
Yeah.
enjoyment is genuine, chase that. I mean, you're not doing it for the, whatever you're doing. I mean, at some point, you're going to be sick of doing something that your heart is not into.
Sure.
So as long as you focus on what I mean, there'll be elements that you like about doing it, and there's elements that you don't
I
like.
mean, look, so as someone who's been making Bollywood music for now the better part of 22 years, there are days where I'm just fucking miserable because I don't want to do what I'm doing, but it's part of my job, so I'm
Yeah.
doing it. Like if I'm doing 6 songs in a film, there will be it's completely unnecessary that I personally adore all 6 of the songs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'll make them within the constraints of the film and the story and the director and so on and so forth to the best of my ability, sure.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but when I do love a song that I've done, there's nothing happier than that.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you know of any songs that you've done with Vishal and Shekhar that you wish more people had listened to? Like they just
So many, man.
felt, yeah.
So many. There's a song called Piya Tu Kahe Rootha Re from Kahani. In fact, the entire Kahani soundtrack, people just need to get that on vinyl, lossless, and hear it. It's a good soundtrack. I'm deeply proud of that. Deeply proud of it.
I remember because I mixed that and I
Yeah.
heard your scratch for the title track, and I wish more
Yeah.
people could
Oh, you
hear
keep
that.
telling me.
You should put that out at some point, just as a
I don't have it, dude.
Okay.
I don't have any of the. So the thing is, the magical thing about this catalog. So I just moved here, by the way. This is my new home.
Mm-hmm.
I threw away everything that I found, like all the old CDs and scratches and lyric notes and everything. I know I shouldn't have done that. I know I should have kept. I thought about it. I had a bag full of stuff by the end of it, and I was like, man, I don't hold on to things. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
We'll make new ones. It's cool.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
It's just like, how they put out these albums like 20 years later and then they, put in these old demos and stuff for people to find interesting. I
Yeah,
mean,
so we'll just write new music and say that they're old demos. I couldn't be asked with carrying shit around and cataloging it and treating it like it's some sort of sacrosanct thing. It's just ideas, dude. Thoughts arrive like butterflies. You know what I'm saying? That's exactly how. And I'm telling you, it's one of the when I first heard that album 10, this line just stamped itself in my head. And I was just like, I will not be that person who sort of holds on to any of them. Let it go.
Do you have any influences that are not obvious that people wouldn't really think that you listen to that or something like that?
Well, Tori Amos is one of them. I don't think anyone would guess. It would take a very perceptive person to listen to even Pentagram's music and find Tori Amos in there.
Right.
So obviously the obvious ones are all there, but the really non-obvious ones are Tori Amos, and the one that's really caused me the most trouble in terms of my enunciation is Elvis.
Right.
Again, not evident in the music at all, but like in terms of the slurring of the words when I sing, it's Elvis's fault. No question about it.
At what age did you realize that you have a very unique voice and like even while trying to copy other singers, you still ended up sounding like, did you ever realize that?
Not really, man. I still don't think so. I don't like the tone of my voice, right?
Even John Lennon hated the sound of his voice. So
I don't like
you got
to listen to my own voice. It just pisses me off. So in any context, there are like 3 or 4 songs that I've sung that I like. One of them is Nocturne. I like the Pentagram Unplugged, the Ignorant one, I really like. The original one on the album, I don't like at all. Because it sounds like someone trying to rip Sting off, It really does. I mean, but I didn't know better at the time. So it took 20 years to walk away from that. There will be a time not so long ago. Like that. It's not you, dude. What the fuck are you doing?
Well, I guess in failing to emulate, you end up being yourself.
Yeah, for sure. But you have to consciously work towards that, which I wasn't doing at the time. You have to be aware that you're not just emulating, but imitating, and then walk away from that.
Right.
It takes a while. For me, it took a really long, because there's no one to tell me that. So,
since this is a guitar player friendly show, at what point did you realize Randolph's like a freak? Like he's very uniquely him.
So the true story is that I realized this before I ever heard him play guitar. No, for real. We didn't know each other at all, and there was a promoter called Jay Day, if you remember. When I say promoter, I use the term very loosely. Farhad would be very offended.
Randolph told us you all met in a lift on the way to his house.
That's correct. And not only did we meet, both of us had long hair at the time, and we were cut from that same Bombay rocker cloth, so to speak. And there was instant angst between us. Like the look was not friendly or like, hey, brother from the same community, It was like, who the fuck are you and why are you here? Like that. And so we went up. I had a meeting with Jay, and I assume so did Randolph at some point. And then in the evening, Pentagram we were in the process of auditioning guitar players, trying to find someone. And that dude who I met in the lift showed up. And we asked him to play something, and he wouldn't play. He just would not play. He had a guitar, which was a big step to start with. And then he just kept, sort of looking at all of us and sort of just like play something of your own. Just like come up with something, like play a riff or something like that, No, just wouldn't play. He was just figuring us out. And so basically we realized that it wasn't him auditioning for us, it was him auditioning us
to see if he could work with you all. Yeah.
Exactly.
And then
And then yeah,
when
and
he
then
played, did he have like a sound at that time?
yeah, we immediately jumped from there straight into writing music.
Okay.
Straight. Like I think 2 days later, he had this. He had the opening bars of a song called Na, which was on our first album. That
Mm-hmm.
was the first
I
song
remember
we
that.
wrote on that
Yeah.
album. Yeah. And all of it went from there because he played that. Then Papal started to play the bass line, and it was just like, oh, okay, this is happening. And I started to sing the melody. And yep.
And I remember like when you were a two guitar player band, I think Clyde used to handle the more shreddy stuff, and Randolph was more like the riff based guy.
I mean,
Yeah, kind of. But
so Clyde,
then one day I heard Randolph shred, and I was like, okay, shit, this guy can actually play all that shit.
and in time too,
Yeah,
which is a big
very
change for
important. Yeah,
us.
that's like one of the things I
Yeah.
noticed. Like
So,
his time is always slightly behind the groove. He just sits on it so
yeah.
nicely.
He's got a nice little, and it kind of makes everything a little chunkier.
Yeah,
That little, yeah.
yeah,
Well, I mean, we didn't know anything at the time,
yeah.
obviously, and Clyde was already part of the band, and shredding was his thing, and he memorized, whatever he wanted to memorize or whatever, and he'd play on that basis. So, honestly, Shiraz, Papal, me, we didn't know any better. Papal didn't say anything for the first 6 months anyway, so. It's only when Randolph started, like when there's twin guitar solos, right? Hotel California, for example,
Yeah,
which we used to cover at the time, that we realize the marked difference from one and the other,
right.
And then, of course, once the electronics came on board, Clyde was just, essentially, he was just controlling that shit more than anything else. Which then one day he didn't show up for a flight, and then we realized that anyone can hit play on that machine.
What are some of the qualities that you look for in a guitar player, or you think that a guitar player should have?
Context, first of all. The guitar player depends on the context. There are very few people who transcend context, who can sort of become relevant to whatever. And I'm not saying that they mold themselves, but who carry themselves in such a way that they become relevant to whatever they're playing on. Like that piece of music would miss them if they weren't on it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Honestly, I don't know very many such. It's a combination of tone and more than anything else, personality. It's not just about chops, or just not just about knowing what you're doing as much as it is about who you are, and so there's a lot. I'm sure there's a lot of guitar players who have incredible personalities, but who also play guitar in a very sort of generic manner. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But there's something about people who I don't know. I guess they generate individuality when they play. You can hear it. And so it can't be anybody. It's the same. It's actually the same thing you look for in a singer, or the same thing you look for in even in a bassist or a drummer or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like it's the same instrument, but what you do with it is what defines everything.
Yeah.
Right. And not that like can you play this lick, or can you have you studied the theory, or not that so much. Yes, of course, all of that. But then beyond that, how much of that is coming from you? How much thought have you eliminated from your process, and how much of you are you putting into that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like Randolph came and played on a film called Dostana for us. I think you also played on Dostana, right?
Probably.
But Randolph came and played once on one song, and he played one riff, and the session lasted 1 hour. Not even. It took 1 hour of 50 minutes was faffing, and then the first riff that he played became the signature for the whole film.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It's what they started the promo with. It's what they put into everything. It's what they put in the score. He played that. He played it once. He didn't even play it twice, and he didn't have a pick. He played it with a coin. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just quintessential Randolph. He just came and just like spat it out, and boom, it was awesome. Yeah.
Over the years, in the course of the film sessions, do you remember any standout guitar moments, like
Dude,
during the session?
they all involve you. So
Well,
You know, I mean, you've played all our fucking songs since 2007, literally.
yeah.
Literally all of them.
But like, say the guitar solo in Khuda Jani, which I didn't play. I think that's like
Oh,
a
that's
really
true.
cool moment.
That was, who was that? Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Who
because
was that?
I had to learn it right when I started playing live gigs with y'all,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, this is a
Yeah, because
really,
Khuda Jani was just prior to when you showed up. Just prior to Tashan, we had put out Bashna Scene.
yeah.
Interesting. I wonder who played. Was it Kalyan? I can't say
I'll
for
probably
sure.
have to ask Shekhar. He'll tell me.
He won't remember either.
Yeah.
I can guarantee.
Maybe I'll ask Abhi then.
If you ask Shekhar, his first guess will be Warren played it. I mean, that's
Because
Abhi might know.
yeah,
Abhi might know.
yeah,
So yeah, no. Standout guitar moments. My God, there are so many, dude. First of all, the entire Tashan soundtrack.
yeah,
The entire Tashan soundtrack. We've never worked so organically on a film score as with that. You know, and then we did subsequently for other songs like Bang Bang and things like that, where everyone's just in the room throwing things out and just putting stuff down and, you know,
yeah,
messing with it, which is great. But usually the film songs are planned well in advance. There's a, you know, like someone who's putting down the electronic bed, and then, you know, guitar player comes in to either fill in texture or, you know, add. But it's not an exchange of ideas so much. But Tashan was just like, it was a rock and roll album. It was,
yeah.
I mean, all of us were a band in that way, you know, things were just coming from everywhere. It's like, yeah, fuck, this is awesome. Yeah.
I think
So that was the whole
Randolph
album was
played
just like that.
the fast bits on the title
Yeah.
track because I had to leave. I had to catch
No,
a flight.
yeah.
I played
Yeah.
some rhythm guitar and then I had to leave.
Played- No,
Right.
because we got that banjo in, right? We got that,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
we wanted to layer that with the guitar.
With the guitar, yeah.
So then, and then we had to break that up because that's such a psychotic bit that remembering those notes in that sequence is the trip. So we were literally doing it one phrase at a time. Trippy.
That's the way you do it. Because there was another song I remember y'all made me double a harmonium solo. You know, one of
Yeah.
those fast, choppy ones, and that was like I had to go line by line. I was like, "There's no way I can do that."
I think it's the same song. The M1 was that harmonium. That bit. And then immediately after that, it goes into the banjo bit, which you had left for. So then Randolph had to do that
Right.
bit.
Crazy.
And the thing is, the amazing thing is, I don't remember that, but I can tell, like in my head from the tone.
Right. Who is who?
You know,
Which
who's
is
who,
which and
yeah.
who is, yeah.
Crazy.
And I just want to ask you a little bit, like, isn't like Shekhar a ridiculously underrated like musician overall, just on the piano and his vocals and
He is, as far as I'm concerned, there's two people who've carried me their entire lives. One is Randolph, and the other one is Shekhar. And Abhi to an extent, and you to another extent. I mean, that ridiculous Shekhar he's a ridiculously talented musician across all. So in terms of songwriting, the kind of writing that he does is unbelievable. In terms of orchestration, arrangement, I don't think anyone has the chordal sensibility that Shekhar has.
yeah,
And I think one of the reasons that Vishal and Shekhar's songs travel so far is because he adds so much richness to them, or even knows, for example, when you do something cool, he knows what you're doing and
Yeah.
where to take it and how best to have it in the song, you know?
yeah.
Absolute genius. Underrated means it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Like for whatever, he should be celebrated, but I don't know what the deal is with that. People are just idiots.
Because like my thing is like both of y'all are almost like at times almost polar opposite tastes when it comes to stuff, but
Yeah.
both of y'all
Yeah.
know when it's good shit, you know.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
True.
it was like
When
both of
it's
us say,
exactly
yeah,
right. That's a whole. It's like either if it's shit, both of us may feel differently about it, but if it's awesome, both of us are like, that is awesome.
Because
It
like
is awesome.
at times I've been sitting with you for like, you know, half an hour working on something, and then you leave, and then he'll come in, and then it'll go in another direction, and then you'll come back. It was finally, I was like, both of y'all can both be in the room at the same time, and then both will say, yeah, that's the one, or that's the take, or whatever.
That's when you know it's good that both of us are not. One of us is not trying to leave. One of us is not trying to slant and exit. Then you know it's good. That's the reality of it. But yeah, he's a genius at another level, man.
Do you appreciate certain things about the film audience listening to music that are not there in, like, say, a rock audience?
Yeah, they're willing to pay for it.
Boom. Correct
Yeah,
answer.
to put it simply.
Yeah.
It's vast numbers of people who are willing to buy tickets or buy the music and actually pay for it. So that
Yeah.
helps.
Yeah. Do you find like they're less judgmental?
No,
They're
I find that
equally
hyper judgmental.
right.
It's just that the numbers are so vast that that even if half of them judge you badly and half of them love it, you're doing well. You know,
Right.
it's literally that. I don't think anyone's less judgmental when it comes to music. Everyone has a point of view. Like I have songs that I personally love that people have come up to me and told me, man, I hate that fucking song. It needs to stop playing. I'm gonna fucking smack you. I kid you not. And I'm like, dude, but that will always stand. I mean, you may not like the genre, you may not like Bollywood, you may not like whatever it is, but a great song is a great song. You know what I'm saying? No one can change that. That is a
Yeah.
great song, and I will always stand by it in whatever language it is. So go fuck yourself. That's my view on the subject.
I have this hilarious story. Again, I think I'd flown down from NZ to play on, I think it was the Tashan thing. And just before I left, you all said, hey, can you just do a quick solo on this track? So there was no vocals or something, just a groove or something. I just did something. I left. And then I came back, I think a year or something later. And it was probably one of your gigs. It was like an early morning flight, 5 a.m. going to the airport, like, you know what it is like. So there's a
Sure.
truck next to me blasting out this song, white face, something. And I'm like, I don't need this at 5 in the morning. And then I'm sitting there in the cab and the guitar solo comes on. I was like, that's me. That was a good lesson.
Yeah. Wait for the solo. That's the lesson. Whatever the song is, wait for the solo. Everything will be all right.
Speaking of audiences, when y'all do the film gigs, what is the favorite audience outside India? Where is that?
I don't think I have a favorite audience,
Okay.
man. I don't think I have. To be absolutely honest, like I was telling somebody yesterday, they asked me the same question for Saregama, and I was like, man, half the time I don't even know what kind of show it is when we're
Right.
headed there. I don't know if it's a wedding or a corporate gig or a college gig, or it doesn't. When it's Bollywood,
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter. You don't have to think of a different set. It's all wall to wall hit songs, right?
Yeah.
So it's like playing covers, except you wrote those songs,
I remember there was this one
So
gig
I mean,
I was playing with y'all. I think it was probably in Goa, and there was like an Australian contingent in the audience, and at some point they were like, saying, "Can you please play some rock and roll in the middle of a Bollywood gig?" And I think you looked at me or something, and then we just burst into like this Led Zeppelin thing.
the Led Zeppelin
Yeah,
track.
and
Yeah,
then
that was the
somebody,
first time that happened. Then
yeah,
we've done it 50. We did it at a wedding once. I don't know if you remember that. Sri Sheila ki Jagani, we did a whole lot of love, and they were just like,
what is this? Crazy. I mean, sometimes it's awesome
oh,
when
this devil's music.
but there's always some people like who will know it. They've got
Yeah,
the
dude. At
overlap.
every wedding gig or corporate gig, there's a bunch of 4 or 5 people who are shouting for Pentagram,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, do you see the rest of them on stage here? No, it's not that kind of show.
Yeah, pick your moment.
Yeah. I mean, you work for the company. You hired this band. You should have hired that band, no? Then if you wanted that. But okay.
Yeah. Oh man. I remember there was some corporate gig or something, and then we did our usual set, and then after our set, they started playing like 50s rock and roll, and everyone got up and started dancing to that. I was like, why didn't you tell us you wanted to?
Yeah, we replayed that. You should have just said so.
Yeah. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's very surreal,
Had to have
like
been in Goa.
between the two worlds, as it were. Because you're one of the few people who know what it's like, working both.
I may well be the only one, tell the truth.
Yeah.
Because it's a psychotic existence. Like having both I don't think it's very good for your mental health. I don't think anyone should do it. It's a bad plan. Because you're constantly, it's also just, it's like so for example, if I'm hanging with, the Pentagram people, they're all just like, you're getting dissed for that.
Right.
Then if you hang out with these people, then that shit is just like, hey man, what the fuck are you wasting your life over?
Yeah.
That kind of, and I'm just like, tum log sab chutiya hai. Which is the reality that I've come to now. And I just do my own thing.
I mean, it's a privilege just making music that people want to listen to, at the end of the
Man,
day.
it doesn't matter if they listen to it. It's a privilege just being able to fucking sing a song. Just being able to write some lyrics. Just being able to play fucking 4 chords. I'm still grateful for that. Charlie, wherever you are, thank you, man. And no, I'm serious. I kid you not. It's just, I mean, to have that is a gift, and fuck anyone who has any problem with any of it. That's my view on the subject.
Awesome. I think that's a good ending point to have. But for the last question, I thought I'd let you ask me a question, if you want to.
Why did you suddenly leave August 23rd last year?
August? No.
And when the fuck are you coming back? Like, please come back, man.
I left in June, actually, mainly because my daughter could...
You left in August, dude.
No, I left in
June.
June.
You told me in August. You've been gone for 2 months before you told me. Fuck, that's tragic.
I
know it was the 23rd of someone.
It was the 23rd of June. Yeah, I remember that.
It was the 23rd of June.
Mainly because of the kid. Just so that, in India right now is not a good place for a young little girl to grow up.
I agree.
For various reasons.
No, I understand the reasoning completely, but my God, what a fucking loss, dude.
Yeah, it's not.
And I'm not just saying it. You're a fucking dick for leaving. I don't like you. That's all I want. Well, that's my question for you. It ends there.
Keep our fingers crossed till flights become then I'm just a flight away.
No, it's not even about flights. So you're a flight away, which is a whole day away, dude. That's not like that. I wouldn't even ask you to do that to come and play on a song. But we can do this online and everything. But for whatever it's worth, it's just, how does one put it? Like if there are some, there's some rocks in your life. It's like that. So without you, I feel like one of those is gone, and that fucking sucks. So, dude. It does suck. I genuinely miss you, man. And I'm 100% sure that the music in this whole, across the spheres, will miss you as well. It's just, the shit you do is not easy to substitute. That's all I'm saying.
But the good thing is the kids these days are just getting better, So at some point there'll be some kid that'll, fill whatever it is.
No, I'm sure they'll be, but hopefully, I don't know. They'll always be there. There'll always be new guys. There'll always be new things happening, whatever. But for whatever it's worth, there's also the, okay. So for example, there's also the ability of, to be in a room and do something really fuck all. And the guy who you are currently working with, say if you're in the room or Abhi is there, that person knows that this person is not fuck all because this idea was fuck all. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's a very big deal. Having that security is a very big deal.
Yeah, not to be judged.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, and also to have people like, you can tell me if it's, man, this is fuck all. I don't like this. You know what I'm saying?
We can say, we're not really digging this, but let's do the best we can, with this idea.
Or let's move on to, let's try something else and see what happens,
Brilliant.
And then the thing is, okay, having, the truth is, working in this business for so long, right? There's this fucking fake legend tatti that comes with it, right? Everyone's like, oh, and then you have to tell everyone what to do because they're afraid to bring anything to the table because, you know what I'm saying? Because you're supposed to know everything, but I don't know anything.
That's why
they don't know that.
Do you think these days, just with the whole proliferation of social media and everyone trying to present themselves in the best possible light, aren't you super glad we didn't have that shit when we were kids?
Oh, fuck, so glad, man. I'm so glad. I can't even tell you. For so many reasons. First of all, when you're a young rock band, you don't want shit on the record.
Yeah.
One. Two, it's an idiot's game, man. Are you seeing what's going on? So if you subscribe to it, there's this dance, right, that everyone's doing in the world at the same time. And Instagram is promoting any moron who puts up that video with that track playing and doing those steps. Instagram is promoting it and more people are following these people. Why? Everyone's doing the same thing. Why are you following anyone over anyone else? They're all doing the same thing, for one. For two, I'm just like, If you came to my house and you told me, man, listen, you have to dance like this or I won't be your friend, I'd be like, get the fuck out of my house, yo. You know what I'm saying? What is this shit? Like, what is going on? I've been so baffled. Yesterday, I put up a status on Instagram. There's this thing. Apparently, you have to shoot a video of yourself, and there's a voice instruction. It says, raise your eyebrows. Now smile. No, wait. Smile without your eyes. Then raise your eyebrows. Now stop smiling. That's your model face. And then some music starts playing, and you have to do one modelly walk and fuck off. Right? This is a talent apparently, or what, I don't know what. So I'm just like, yesterday I put up a thing. I was like, what's the first thing again? Smile without your eyes, raise your eyebrows, stop fucking breathing. Thank you. Essentially, I'm just, what the fuck is this? Yeah. But anyway, thankfully we don't have to subscribe to that shit. And cheers to everyone who, like, if it's helping you build a following, whatever, man, do what you got to do.
I'm super glad that there weren't cell phone video recording when I was on stage, when just coming up.
And there is not a single recording of that 2005 concert where I threw a mic into the audience. You won't believe the best thing though. The guy who started that shit, because he threw something at us, and therefore I got pissed, and he wrote to me and apologized now, like literally, like last week. I read it to my parents. I was with them when I got that. He said, I feel really bad about this shit, and I shouldn't have done that, and it caused you a lot of trouble, so I'm gonna say sorry or whatever. And I'm just like, what? But, and he said, oh, and my friends and I were really enjoying ourselves, but I decided to throw something anyway.
Oh,
I mean, you're a cock, dude. I don't know what else to say, but cheers. Yeah, but not a single recording. The only guy who has a recording of that is Mr. Anand Subhaya, and he won't share it because he knows we'll burn it or whatever. But he does have a recording of it, like a videotape of it.
Yeah. The thing is, like, you were at least able to suck and get away with it, in those early days. These days it's...
I mean, no, seriously, you had a lot more leeway like that, and you got to grow and choose your path as a musician. You weren't immediately committed to what you did once.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of key.
And it's now like people trying to game the algorithm. Like in our days, the algorithm was Farhad Wadia. If he liked it, he would play the gig.
It actually even wasn't. It wasn't even that. It was. I don't even know what Farhad's thing was, because I remember him having bands on stage and turning to me and saying, "Hey, Dadlani, I don't understand this fucking music. What's going on?" Like, you put them on stage, man. So he was able to go beyond that. Even he was like, hey, "People like it. I guess this must be the new shit, whatever."
Because I remember he told me, like, you guys were the last band I understood.
Yeah.
After that, it just went weird for him. It's funny though, I mean, because even like with DJs, for example, in those days, they would play the stuff they liked, and you would, get introduced to music just because you respected somebody's taste. Yeah. Now it's like, at least now, like this playlisting stuff on Spotify, it's a totally different word, You got to get on some playlist and this and that.
I don't know, man. I'm not sure I like it very much, but then I also find that people who say that they don't like what's happening today are old people. So I'm trying to avoid saying that.
Exactly. Just
sort of keep an open mind to it and try to understand it. But whatever, man.
Yeah. I mean, who knows?
Things is different now than when we were doing our thing.
We are like kids these days.
I said this to somebody yesterday. I'm like, you say this Aajkal situation, that means you are Kal, and somebody else is Aaj.
Pretty much.
Fucking guard against that, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny, like, we watched the industry, change from like being gate kept, and suddenly it became like fully democratic for a while, and now like the algorithms kind of decide who goes up.
It's just another gatekeeper, dude. It's a robot gatekeeper now. That's all it is.
Yeah, there was like one little window where anything,
And the world could have changed there, but the businesses took over.
Exactly.
And they saw that. They saw that opportunity and they built around it. And unfortunately, the sort of the egalitarian ideas, or the people with egalitarian ideas, also became those people. So what do you do?
Yeah.
Like one would have thought people like Musk and shit would have done something at that time to sort of, game the thing in the favor of the consumer or the people or the vast masses. Not really.
Yeah.
All of them are just pretty much the same.
It's like our generation is now the machine that we once raged against, in a way.
Yeah,
the same,
exactly right.
Same people in power. Yeah.
Fuck you, you won't do what I tell you.
Okay, just getting back to close. Some of your favorite singers, for example, you want to just let us know? People who've influenced you.
Uh,
You mentioned
yeah, man.
Elvis.
There's some eternals always there, right? I mean, there's Chris Cornell
Yeah.
is forever and ever. Um, whom do I listen to as a singer? The thing is, I've also the way I listen to voices has changed
Okay.
a lot. In that, so Chris Cornell, I mean, of course, Robert Plant was there before Chris Cornell. You know what I'm saying? And then Chris Cornell became the Robert Plant of my time, so to speak. Just the way they employed range and and so on and so forth, and in the songwriting as well.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was pretty fucking incredible. But then somewhere along the way, I also came to realize that, and I never really got into it. People like Dylan and people like Van Morrison or what's his name?
Springsteen.
Johnny Cash,
Okay.
Springsteen.
Yeah.
So much to say, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And it wasn't just about range. It was so much more about what was being said and the truth with which it was being said that
Yeah.
made them better and better singers for me as I grew up a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like when I was young, it wasn't when I was like a kid, it wasn't about that at all. It was always about like who's got more, like who's doing like flashier things or, and then as you start understanding the depth of someone who's specifically not bothered with flash,
Yeah.
yeah. So
What
I don't know.
about someone like Scott Weiland? Big influence on you?
Scott Weiland's songwriting was a big influence. I was never a big fan as a singer because I found him very, very influenced or very, very similar to Eddie Vedder or people like that.
Same era,
Same era, same general vibe, same tonal quality even. So for me, in a sense, Anthony Kiedis was a more unique voice than Weiland, So and the rhythmic nature of what he was doing was more exciting because I already had Pearl Jam. But then Stone Temple Pilots, their songs were spectacular.
Yeah.
So I never really thought about it as singers being separate from the band or So listing singers is the only guy who actually with whom that actually happened. Where I was a fan of the singer particularly was Cornell.
Right. Yeah, that I know for sure. It shows. Have you come across any singers from Bollywood that have been grounded in rock as well, or at least some sort of the Western music that we listen to?
I've heard a lot of singers like that, but oh shit,
it's just palat.
Dude, my phone just died. It's going to hang up now.
Okay, we'll just do it.